Alright, let me break down the first season for you. Picture this, the most prestigious school, Shuchiin Academy, where all the kids are either legacy, rich or genius level smart. And in this school, you have two titans. The vice president, Kaguya Shinomiya, the one they call Kaguya-sama, from an insanely wealthy and powerful family. And the president, Miyuki Shirougan, who got to the top purely through insane hard work and brain power. Everyone at school sees them as the perfect couple. But the whole joke is that they're both incredibly proud and deeply insecure. Kaguya was raised in a cold family where love is a weakness, and Miyuki constantly feels like an imposter among all this elite, born into wealth kids. So they're both madly in love with each other, but the thought of confessing first is like admitting defeat. So they have this unspoken gentleman's agreement: the one who confesses their love first loses. And thus begin these absolutely insane psychological duels. It is a masterpiece. Every episode is a new battle. Kaguya, for instance, decides, okay, to create a reason for us to go to the movies together, I need to make him invite me himself. And she sets up this elaborate multi-step plan. She plants a movie flyer on him, then uses third parties to find out his opinion on the film, then tries to create a situation where he has to invite her as an apology. And Miyuki is like, ha, I can see your game 3 moves ahead, and constructs a counter strategy. One of my favorite duels is when they try to make each other call on the phone. Just a simple phone call. For normal people, it is nothing, but for them, it is a battlefield. Kaguya deliberately forgets her folder in the student council room and waits for him to call and ask about it. Miyuki sees right through it and deliberately doesn't call, starting a game of chicken. And there they are, at night, staring at their phones, and Kaguya is mentally screaming at him. Just call, you idiot. I spent the whole day setting this up. And he is like, no, I will endure. I will not fall for your trap, Shinomiya. Their internal monologues are an art form unto themselves. Kaguya, in her head, comes up with these genius but utterly deranged plans, and her advisor some miniature versions of herself third. Just add fuel to the fire. One is evil and cunning, and the other is kind and romantic, and they're constantly arguing in her head. And then there is Chika Fujiwara, the council secretary. She is this agent of pure chaos who constantly ruins everything. She is completely unpredictable and doesn't fit into any of their schemes. They'll be sitting there, the tension is rising. Miyuki is almost caught in Kaguya's trap, and then Chika bursts in yelling, let's play board games. Or I invented a new game. All their genius multi-layered strategies go up in smoke. She is the living embodiment of an anti-meme, against which no strategy works. One of the most iconic moments is the love spell duel. Miyuki read somewhere that if you stare into each other's eyes for 15 seconds without blinking, you'll fall in love. And he decides to use this on Kaguya. And she, of course, figured it out and accepts the challenge. So they sit there, staring into each other's eyes. And for them, those 15 seconds stretch into an eternity. Kaguya's internal monologue is gold. He is so close. His gaze. It is so serious, damn it, my heart. This is against the rules. This is cheating. In the end, she cracks and loses, running away, and then spends the next whole day trying to figure out if it was magic or just her own feelings. But the most powerful moment in the first season is the finale. During the culture festival, Kaguya caught a cold and didn't come, and Miyuki found out late in the evening. And this guy, who always has everything calculated, just panics. He knows she has a weak constitution and needs a specific expensive medicine. So what does he do? He just takes off and runs through half of Tokyo at night, calling every 24-hour pharmacy to find this specific cough syrup. He arrives at her house, drenched in sweat, with his feet torn up from running. When he hands her the medicine, Kaguya realizes this wasn't a calculated move. It was a sincere, foolish, impulsive act, and it breaks her. She starts crying. She tells him, thank you, you idiot. And in her head the thought races, this isn't fair, you shouldn't be this nice because of this. Because of this I might truly fall in love with you. And after that, their war doesn't feel like such a fun game anymore. The real feelings broke through the surface, and it became clear that all of this was just a stupid facade to hide their own vulnerability. The first season ends with them not becoming a couple, but their relationship has shifted to a completely new level. The game continues, but now there is a real, genuine tenderness to it. You just know it is only a matter of time before one of them, or both, finally breaks. The walls are crumbling. Alright, buckle up for season 2. This is where things get even more intense, and the war starts to feel less like a battle and more like, well, two idiots desperately trying to date without admitting they're dating. Remember how the first season ended with that massive emotional climax. Miyuki running across Tokyo and Kaguya having her heart absolutely wrecked by his sincerity. Yeah, Season 2 lives in the aftermath of that. The dynamic shifts. It is less about how do I make them confess, and more about how do I get closer to them without looking like I am trying to get closer to them. The psychological battles are still there, but they get a new flavor. One of the best arcs is the one to go watch the fireworks. Arc, it is a masterclass in romantic tension. So Kaguya wants to go to the fireworks festival with Miyuki, but she can't just ask him. That would be a loss. So she engineers a situation where he'll hear from other people that she has no plans, hoping he'll be gentlemanly and invite her. But Miyuki, the absolute madman, is stuck in his own head. He is overthinking everything. Is it too forward? Would she even want to go with someone like me? What if she says no? The entire plan backfires spectacularly because of their mutual anxiety. It leads to this heartbreaking scene where Kaguya, thinking he'll never ask, sadly tells him over the phone, "It seems I'll be going to the fireworks display after all," implying she is going with someone else. Miyuki is crushed on his end of the line. But then, plot twist, she wasn't invited by anyone. She was just lying to save face. She is sitting alone in her massive, empty mansion, crying, watching the fireworks on television. And just as she is at her lowest, her phone rings. It is Miyuki. He is standing outside her house, having run all the way there. And he says the line that absolutely kills me every time, "President, I couldn't see the fireworks from my house. Do you think? You could let me take a look from your garden. Are you kidding me? This is the smoothest, most galaxy brain move he has ever pulled." He found a way to accidentally meet her without it being a formal date, giving them both an out. It is his way of saying, "I am here for you," without having to confess. My heart literally exploded. This is the moment you realize Miyuki Shirougan, for all his neuroses, is a god-tier romantic. Then we have Miyuki's birthday. Kaguya wants to get him a present, but she is a Shinomiya. She has no idea what a normal person would want. She can't just buy him a castle or a private jet. So she goes on this whole quest to figure out what he truly desires. She even conducts interviews with his sister and tries to subtly interrogate him. She discovers he really wants a specific, relatively cheap keyboard sleeve. But her pride won't let her just give him a normal gift. She has to make it an event. She plans this whole dramatic presentation. But of course, her plans spiral out of control, and in the end, she just nervously shoves the gift at him. His reaction, pure, unadulterated joy and gratitude, shows her that it was the simple, thoughtful gesture that mattered all along. It is a huge step for her in understanding normal human connection. And we can't forget the legendary heartbeat chapter. Oh my god, this episode is peak comedy and romance. Kaguya and Miyuki are working alone in the student council room, and they end up leaning in close to look at something on his phone. They're so close that Kaguya can feel his body heat. And then her new smartwatch, the Kaguya-sama Heartbeat Edition, starts going absolutely berserk. Beep, beep, warning. Abnormal heart rate detected. She is trying to have a calm, collected conversation while her watch is screaming to the entire world that she is having a cardiac event from his proximity. She is internally panicking, trying to hide her wrist, making up insane excuses like, "I must have run here," while sitting perfectly still. Miyuki, the dense motherfucker, is just concerned for her health, completely missing the obvious reason. It is the most hilarious and accurate depiction of what it feels like to be near your crush. The physical manifestation of my heart is literally beating out of my chest for you. Season 2 also starts developing the side characters way more. We get the full, tragic backstory of Yushigami, and it is heavy. We learn he wasn't always a gloomy shut-in. In middle school, he saw a girl being manipulated by her boyfriend. Trying to protect her, he confronted the guy and got violently beaten up. But the twisted version of the story that got out made him look like the stalker and the creep. The school ostracized him, and he fell into a deep depression. It is President Shirougan who uncovers the truth, and literally fights the teachers to get Ishigami reinstated and his record cleared. This arc completely recontextualizes Ishigami. He is not just a meme, he is a deeply wounded person who tried to do the right thing and had his life ruined for it. Seeing Kaguya and Miyuki rally behind him, with Kaguya even using her Shinomiya influence to help, shows the student council is becoming a real found family. So, by the end of Season 2, the war is practically obsolete. They've had phone calls, almost dates, gift exchanges and cardiac arrest, inducing close encounters. The walls are paper thin. They're basically a couple in everything but name, dancing around the final inevitable confession. The tension is no longer if it will happen, but how and when the dam will finally break. The genius of the season is how it masterfully transitions them from rivals to partners, without them even realizing it. Absolutely. Let's dive into the glorious finale, Season 3, also known as Ultra Romantic. This is it. The peak, the season where the war reaches its ultimate, explosive, and beautiful conclusion. Remember how by the end of Season 2 they were basically a couple in denial? Yeah, Season 3 takes that smoldering fuse and lights a goddamn bonfire with it. The main backdrop is the school's cultural festival, and the entire season feels like it is building towards one single monumental event. But first, let's talk about the MVP of this season, Yu Ishigami. This is his god-tier arc. He is no longer just the gloomy background guy. He is finally starting to open up, and he goes through a full-blown romantic saga of his own. He develops a crush on a girl from the cheerleading squad, Tsubame Koyasu. And seeing Ishigami try to navigate actual, real, hopeful feelings is both heartbreaking and inspiring. The entire student council gets involved in his love life. They become his hype squad. Kaguya, in a role reversal for the ages, becomes Ishigami's love master, trying to guide him with her theoretically brilliant, practically disastrous strategies. There is a legendary scene where she tries to teach him how to be cool by taking a photo for his social media profile. It ends with her, the ice-cold Shinomiya heiress, lying on the ground to get the perfect low-angle shot of a bewildered Ishigami. It is hilarious and shows how much she has grown to genuinely care for her friend. Meanwhile, the main event, Kaguya and Miyuki's relationship, is at a boiling point. The games are almost completely gone, replaced by raw, nerve-wracking anticipation. The most telling moment is the first kiss arc. They're working late, and the atmosphere is thick with tension. Miyuki gets a bit of lip cream on his mouth, and Kaguya, in a moment of pure unfiltered impulse, reaches out and wipes it off with her finger. The act is so intimate, so beyond their usual battles, that it short-circuits both their brains. They both realize they are this close to their first kiss. The internal panic is palpable. Kaguya's mind is screaming, a kiss, a real kiss, it is happening. But is my breath okay? I didn't prepare. This is a state of emergency. Miyuki is equally frozen. In the end, the moment passes interrupted by their own cowardice. But it is a clear sign. The final barrier is about to fall. All of this builds to the cultural festival. The student council has put their hearts into making it a success. The climax arrives after the stunning performance of the school band, which features Chika Fujiwara as the lead singer, a whole other amazing subplot. The crowd is going wild. Miyuki Shirougan, as student council president, is supposed to go on stage to give the closing speech. He walks onto the stage, blinded by the spotlights. He can't see Kaguya in the massive crowd, and in that moment something in him just snaps. All the overthinking, all the strategies, all the fear, it evaporates. He is filled with a pure, uncontrollable emotion. He grabs the microphone, and instead of a formal speech, he delivers the ultimate checkmate, the move that ends the war forever. Ahem, my name is Miyuki Shirougan, and I am in love with Kaguya Shinomiya. The crowd falls silent for a second, then erupts into chaos. Kaguya Shinomiya, I love you, he continues, his voice shaking but determined. Please, will you go out with me? He confessed publicly. Spectacularly, he broke their rule in the most grand, undeniable way possible. The entire school is his witness, and Kaguya, she is standing in the crowd, utterly stunned. Her mind, usually a supercomputer of schemes, is completely blank. The world narrows down to him on that stage, overwhelmed by a tsunami of emotions, shock, joy, embarrassment. Love, she turns and flees, tears streaming down her face. But the story doesn't end there. They meet later, on the school balcony. The noise of the festival is gone. It is just the two of them. Kaguya, having collected herself, confronts him. She tells him his confession was unfair. It was done when she couldn't respond. It was the move of a true cheater. There is a tense pause. And then, she looks him dead in the eyes, her own filled with tears and determination, and says the words he, and we, have been waiting 3 seasons to hear. Miyuki Shirougan, I love you too. Boom. The war is over. There is no winner and no loser. There are only 2 people who finally told each other the truth. They hug, a awkward, heartfelt, beautiful hug marking the end of their battle and the beginning of their real relationship. The season, and this core arc of the anime, closes with them walking home together, hand in hand under the festival lights. The geniuses' war of love and brains is complete. They started as rivals, became friends, and ended as lovers. It is one of the most satisfying, earned, and emotionally resonant conclusions in all of anime. It's not just a confession. It's a victory for both of them over their own pride and insecurities. Just perfect.